Did you know that marriage is considered a job for the most part in many countries? Did you know that or no? If you didn't, I think now you know because you heard me say that. So, know that marriage is considered a job in most parts of the world, right? In many countries, marriage is considered a job. And mostly or essentially for the women. So, saying so, marriage is considered as a job. Which means it's essentially for the women, right? It's considered a job for the most part for the women. And what about the men? You are the boss of the marriage. You are the boss of the marriage. So why are you saying this like it's considered a job, and what does it have to do? Like, I have to get married if I want to and not look for a perfect woman. Yes, don't look for a perfect woman, because what happens in companies? What happens if you work for someone? Oh, have you never gotten employed? Because if you've been employed once, or maybe I don't know how many times you've been employed, something you know. It's not the responsibility of the boss to tell the worker what to do. It's the worker's responsibility to know what to do so that he can get paid or so that he can maintain the job if he wants to have the job, right? The bosses cannot stay there and say like, I want this, okay, like let's say after you have a vacancy, right? Your boss, you have a company and something, I don't know, right? And then for the vacancy, like you do interviews, right? To know like which person fits the most for the vacancy. But after some time, like you just don't trust the person just from the interview. You give them time to see what they can do. To see what they can do, to see if they are able, if what they said they could do, they can do it or no. If they don't do it, what do? The employee gets fired if they can't do what they have to do. So the same thing should happen in marriage, right? And if you think that I'm lying when I say that it's considered a job, marriage is considered a job for the most parts in the world, essentially for the women. Look, it doesn't matter if the women are working, like if the woman is working, the most expenses of the house are done by men. The most expenses of the house are done by men. And that's why even like when women, they start earning more, they even divorce, right? They get divorced if the husband is earning less than them. Why? Because it's always like this. That's a law. You cannot change that, right? Not because we don't want to change that, but it's just the truth, right? The truth has no mercy to nobody. So instead of you keep looking for the perfect woman, right? You just announce the vacancy. And I'm not saying you shouldn't imagine, you shouldn't picture an ideal woman for you. But all I'm saying is that don't rely on finding the perfect woman, because you might disappoint yourself a lot. And I think all these red pill coaches who say you don't get married, they don't know even what they're talking about. They don't know. But I'm telling you something that I know now. It's kind of true. So get married if you want to. Don't try to find the perfect woman, because there is no perfect woman. There is no perfect woman. She might be beautiful. She might have a lot of skills, right? But then one day she'll do something very, very stupid, something you didn't even expect, and it happens, right? If you want to stick with her, just stick, right? Just stick. The same thing happens. If you've never been fired before, I have. I know what it feels like to get fired. That's why I won't have no mercy like firing someone if I want to, or if I have to, not if I want to. if I have to, because if the person deserves the job, why not give them? Why not give them? You gotta give them. So the same thing is like for the marriage. Look, like some people might even say like when you get divorced, then you might lose a lot of things.